Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zach Drew Show. I'm Andrew Bellers. I'm going to be your host for today. We've got a lot to get into. We're going to be talking about the technological systems that are being built today and how they are setting up the foundation for the government of the Antichrist government, of the beast system that's going to come in the last days. Before we get into all of that, I would just like to say, if you are watching this, there's a fairly, depending on when this airs, there's a fairly decent chance that you're actually looking at a father right now. My wife's induction date has changed, and there's a pretty good chance that we're going to have a baby even before that date. So that's super exciting. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to be a dad. But enough about me. We're going to dive into the content for today. Scripture tells us that in the last days, there will be a government like there has never been in human history. Now, this government will be controlled by Satan, and it will span the entire globe. Every single person on the earth will be forced to worship the Antichrist, also called the beast, who is going to be set up as Satan's appointed ruler. They will be forced to bear the mark of the beast on their head or on their hand, and that's all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave. And anyone who refuses this mark won't be able to buy or sell. And those who refuse to worship the beast, they're going to be persecuted and they're going to be executed. That's what Scripture says. But that leaves me with one question. How? Like actually, physically, logistically, how could a government have the ability to have that kind of authority? Because until very recently, this kind of power, it wouldn't have even been possible. I mean, you look through history, there have been lots of evil rulers. There's been lots of evil governments. But what government in all of history would have even had the ability to surveil the lives of every individual? Right now, 8 billion people across 7 continents. But something has changed. Right now, we're living in the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is characterized by representing new ways in which technology becomes embedded within societies and even the human body. Nanotechnology, quantum computing, autonomous vehicles, robotics, AI, and the Internet of Things. And the systems that will allow the government of the last days to control every person on this earth. Those systems are being built right now. They're being built right in front of us. And today I'm going to talk about some of the projects, the thought leaders, the innovators, and the tech companies that are slowly, unbeknownst to them, crafting the systems of surveillance and control that will one day be utilized to enslave the world under the rule of the Antichrist. But before I get into that, I want to just take a minute right now. I'm going to take a quick break before we dive into the content for today. Zach and I put together a video that explains some of the things that are going on at the ministry right now. And I'd like you, if you would please take a few minutes, watch this, and I'll be right back with the content for today.
Hey everybody, I just want to take a few moments and speak directly to you from my heart. Because a lot is happening right now, and honestly, I feel like we are standing in one of the most important moments this ministry has ever stepped into. So now, many of you know, earlier this year, actually it was in the very last part of 2025, we raised $120,000 to help sustain 2 years of major ministry expansion. Bringing on full-time help behind the scenes, launching new shows, producing documentaries, investigations, and carrying the growing costs that come with building this ministry aggressively. And to be clear, we didn't raise that support to sit still. We raised it to move aggressively while doors were opening. More shows, more investigations, new documentaries, more Bible teaching, more short form content, more reach. And the crazy thing is, we have a little over 4 months of data from that. And it has been working. I mean, really working. Since Andrew came on full time, if you combine our socials, the TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, the social media platforms together, since we started this in 2018, In these last 4 months, we have seen roughly a 400% increase in viewership, 400%. The message is exploding. And this week, for the first time, it's amazing. I get chills. We were featured in the Western Journal, putting this ministry in front of tens of millions of people. I mean, think about that for a second. Nearly 8 years ago, this thing started so small. And now suddenly doors are opening at every level. We've never seen it before. At the exact same time, we have now partnered directly with Peru. Not just talking about Peru, actually partnered, helping support gospel work in the Amazon jungle, helping raise up missionaries, helping push back against darkness in one of the very regions where ayahuasca tourism and psychedelic spirituality have exploded globally. It is the epicenter. And if you watched the documentary we released last week, you already know. Honestly, I believe it was probably the strongest thing we have ever produced. It was so raw, so intense, and it exposed what is really happening spiritually down there. But while all this growth is happening, while the reach is exploding, while doors are opening behind the scenes, financially, this has actually become one of the hardest seasons we have faced in nearly 8 years. Many of you may not know this, but our program was unexpectedly removed from video on demand on the television network that we're on. Now it's been restored as of last week. And whenever we were removed, we were never notified. We physically saw it in the donations. We had no idea what was going on. That was devastating for us because the majority of our television audience watches through VOD, through video on demand. And almost immediately, recurring monthly support started to collapse. Right now, on a monthly basis, we are running roughly $6,000 behind what we need to sustain operations. So our entire $120,000 that we raised to aggressively, the monthly recurring donations that have dropped off, it's almost as if like the fundraiser didn't happen. And I'm being real with you tonight. There are moments lately where I genuinely don't know if what we're experiencing is spiritual attack or if God is stretching our faith because of what's coming next. Because at the exact same time, in the exact same moment, support dropped radically. We also closed on a brand new property where the ministry will begin filming later this summer. Nearly 3 times the space. More room to build, more room to create, more room for expansion. So on one hand, everything is growing, the reach, the impact, the opportunities, the influence, but on the other hand, the pressure has become very real. And honestly, deep down, I believe these are birthing pains. I believe something massive is ahead for this ministry. I believe the reason the pressure feels so intense is because the impact is growing so rapidly. And that's why tonight I'm asking very directly, if this ministry has impacted your life, if these programs strengthen your faith, if you believe this voice matters in a culture becoming darker and more deceptive by the day, would you prayerfully consider becoming a monthly partner? Because monthly partners are what keep this ministry alive month after month. They allow us to keep exposing darkness, keep producing documentaries, keep reaching tens and tens of thousands of people, to keep traveling, to keep investigating, to keep preaching the gospel. And right now, we truly need people to stand with us. You can support the ministry right now on our website. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you to every single person who has prayed for us, who has supported us, who has shared our videos, and helped us keep pushing forward all these years. Thank you.
Okay, we're back. And I want to say, first of all, thank you to all of you who already faithfully give to this ministry. It truly means everything to us. We are completely a donations-based ministry, and we do everything that we do because of you. And if you're not currently involved and you'd like to get involved, you can do that by visiting ZachDrewShow.com and clicking the bright orange donate button. Or you can write a check to us at Zach Drew Show, P.O. Box 797, Decatur, Illinois, 62525. Okay, let's get back into the content for today's show. So I told you we're going to be discussing some of the thought leaders, the innovators, and tech companies that are building the foundation for the end times government of the Antichrist. And one of these companies, I'm sure you know of them. If you don't, the name of this company is Palantir. So Palantir Technologies, it's a publicly traded American software company, and it specializes in artificial intelligence, complex data integration platforms. It was founded in 2003 by Peter Thiel and Alex Karp, and the company provides systems that allow organizations to consolidate massive disjointed data sets into a single cohesive platform for analysis and data-driven decision-making. So you probably recognize that name I just said, Peter Thiel. He was also the co-founder of PayPal and the first major investor of Facebook. And he is an incredibly influential tech entrepreneur. And interestingly, we talked about this on the show when it happened, but he had a few things to say about the Antichrist, which garnered a lot of attention last year. Here's the article. Regulating AI hastens the Antichrist, says Palantir's Peter Thiel. One of the world's most powerful technology leaders has reportedly warned that regulating artificial intelligence risks hastening the coming of the Antichrist. Peter Thiel, the conservative billionaire who co-founded Palantir, the data analytics group, and PayPal, the payments operator, is said to have made the comments during a lecture delivered in San Francisco. Thiel said that fearing or regulating promising technology and scientific progress, including in AI, risked courting the devil, according to the Wall Street Journal, which cited people who attended the event. Thiel argued that because we are increasingly concerned about existential threats, the time is ripe for the Antichrist to rise to power, promising peace and safety by strangling technological progress with regulation. Call me crazy, I don't think that is what Scripture was talking about when it said that the Antichrist is going to be promising peace and safety. I think Peter Thiel's absolutely wrong here. Not only is he absolutely wrong, I believe his company, Palantir, is building the surveillance and control systems that will one day be the blood of the Antichrist kingdom. So last year, it was reported that President Trump was tapping Palantir to create a national database, compiling personal information on U.S. citizens, which had a lot of people worried and confused. Palantir came out, denied those claims, but an investigation by 404 seems to have uncovered what Palantir was actually building for the administration. It's a program called Elite, E-L-I-T-E, and it's created as a tool for ICE to identify areas of interest in their efforts to crack down on illegal immigration. That's all well and good. I want to play you a couple of videos showing what this tool is capable of, and then we're going to come back to break it down. Let's watch those clips.
Palantir has been working with the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, ICE, since 2016. But their cooperation stepped up a gear after Donald Trump's second inauguration, when they signed a contract to provide a product they called Elite.
So it is a map interface, and an ICE official will simply draw a circle or a square onto that map, and all of these small pins will appear. They'll then click onto one of those pins, and that will be a specific person, or in ICE's sort of vernacular, a target. That'll be their name, date of birth, a photo if they have it, and as you said, the address and the address confidence score.
This is Palantir doing what Palantir does best. Last week we illustrated it using marbles in jars. Lots of different bits of information gathered by different parts of the government, which previously had been impossible to find and connect with each other. With Elite, ICE could get marbles of information from, say, the Department of Motor Vehicles files, police reports, and subpoenaed social media data like location history and private messages, and build a fluid web of intelligence and surveillance.
It seems to be a tool that brings together data from all of these usually separate places and sources and brings it into a sort of all-in-one single tool that ICE can use to find neighborhoods to raid, maybe write up target lists, and eventually supervisors to approve those lists and send people out into the field.
For ICE investigators, what once required weeks of cross-checking siloed systems could now be done in hours or less. Does that mean that people's right to privacy is being abused? Well, CARP thinks not.
When people are worried about surveillance, of course there are huge dangers there. But, it's like you will have far fewer rights if America's not in the lead.
You've also reported about facial recognition technology, and so many people have seen these viral videos where the ICE agent really just sticks his or her phone up directly to the person and kind of takes a snapshot, and that phone that they have in their hand is comparing the image to some much, much larger database. Is that effective? Where did all those pictures come from?
So we first revealed the existence of this app called Mobile Fortify last June, thanks to leaked emails from inside ICE. I then steadily got more information over the coming months, and essentially it uses the system the Customs and Border Protection has at the border to verify who is entering the country. It has turned that inwards onto American streets where, as you say, an ICE official or another DHS official can use their phone, point it at someone's face, and instantly query a database of something like 200 million images that DHS has, compares it to those, brings up an interface identifying the person, their name, date of birth, whether they've been given a final order of deportation, all of that sort of thing.
That's pretty freaky. Now, I'll say, illegal immigration, it's a real problem, because of the policies of previous administrations. We do have millions of people living in our country illegally who have pretty sparse documentation. And so the question is, how are you going to find all of them? And like I said, admittedly, it's a difficult question. But I think we can agree the solution is probably scarier than the problem itself. I mean, creating this tool, this web of nodes, and every node that you click on gives you all of this personal information about this person. It kind of reminds me, I'm a bit of a nerd, specifically a movie nerd, and this kind of reminds me of a scene from the Batman movie, The Dark Knight, which came out in 2008. And if you don't get my reference, I just want to play you a really quick clip to show you what I mean. Let's watch that.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Beautiful, unethical, dangerous. You've turned every cell phone in Gotham into a microphone.
And a high-frequency generator receiver.
You took my sonar concept and applied it to every phone in the city. With half the city feeding you sonar, you can image all of Gotham. This is wrong.
I've got to find this man, Lucius.
At what cost?
The database is now key encrypted. It can only be accessed by one person.
This is too much power for one person.
Yeah, too much power for one person. I think that's probably an understatement. The Patriot Act seemed like a good idea in the wake of 9/11, when all of America was afraid because domestic terrorism was a pretty real threat. That's just a modern day example to show you that the ends don't always justify the means. And the problem is that once you get conservative president out of power, you have someone like Obama who came along, and Obama's DHS releases this document deeming Christian conservatives as domestic terrorist threats. That's the problem. In this country, power is always shifting hands. And that's why true conservatives, we've always wanted a federal government that has less power, not more power. Now, you know who else is reminded of that Batman technology when they look at Palantir software? Palantir. I want to read this article. Here's the article. Palantir Gotham, from 9/11 to AI. Palantir Technologies emerged directly from the intelligence failures of September 11, 2001. Founded in 2003 with seed funding from the CIA's venture capital arm, In-Q-Tel, the company's mission was explicit: prevent another attack by connecting the dots that agencies had missed. Peter Thiel chose the name deliberately. In Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, Palantir are seeing stones that show their users anything happening anywhere in Middle-earth. They also corrupt everyone who touches them, turning tools of knowledge into instruments of control. Palantir Technologies named their government surveillance platform Gotham. The company chose this name in 2008, surely knowing the reference. Gotham, the city that needs a vigilante because its institutions have failed, where surveillance is justified by exceptional threats, where someone always watches from the shadows. But Christopher Nolan's screenplay got one thing wrong. Real surveillance systems don't have self-destruct codes. They have 10-year military contracts worth $10 billion. They have AI enhancements that learn from every query. And unlike Batman's sonar network that lasted one night, Palantir Gotham has been running for 17 years, getting smarter every day. Fiction became prophecy. Just as Gotham City lived in permanent crisis that justified extraordinary measures, America has cycled through emergencies that each expanded surveillance powers. First, terrorism, then homegrown extremism, then misinformation, then COVID, now China. Each crisis leaves behind infrastructure that the next crisis inherits and expands. 23 years after September 11th, we're living through another one of these moments. But this time is different. The threat isn't terrorism, but losing the AI race to China. The surveillance isn't just watching, but predicting. And unlike the Patriot Act, this expansion has no sunset clause. It only gets smarter. Now, as concerning as all of this is, Palantir's Gotham technology, it's not exactly like the sonar technology in Christopher Nolan's film, because it relies on previously accrued data, which could be outdated. Batman's tech integrated millions of active devices feeding a central brain real-time information. But what if I told you that is the goal of companies like Palantir? Let's talk about this term, the Internet of Bodies. So what exactly is the Internet of Bodies, or IOB? Let's define it. The Internet of Bodies is when physical human bodies are connected to the internet through devices, implants, or biological sensors. And this is not some far-flung future thing to watch out for. Now, it is going to progress and get worse, but this is something that's already taking place. Smartwatches tracking your heart rate 24/7. Pacemakers that send your heart data to the cloud. Insulin pumps linked to wireless controllers. Smart contact lenses with built-in displays. And what we're going to be talking about here shortly, brain chips in clinical trials. So again, what is the Internet of Bodies and the Fourth Industrial Revolution? I want to play this clip for you.
The focus, as all of you know, today is on what's now called the Internet of Bodies, involving medical implants and other kinds of devices that go inside your body, and all together with the Internet as a whole comprise the Internet of Bodies.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the Internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function.
What I wanted to epitomize with the Internet of Bodies is this notion that we will be under assessment, we will be under measure of computation in every aspect of our lives in the future. From what you eat, who you date, what you buy on the Internet, how much energy you use, but also what are your vital signs, how well are you doing in terms of health, what kind of specific genetic quirks do you have.
This is something I'm going to try not to say too many times on this program, but this is not science fiction. This is real life. This is the reality that we're living in, and it's the reality that the elite of the world are constructing for us. The RAND Corporation, a government-linked think tank, released a paper called The Internet of Bodies, Opportunities, Risks, and Governance. And they literally said, the human body itself is becoming a node in the Internet of Things, or IoT. You are a walking data point now, a tracked, traced, scored organism inside the machine. And among the emerging technologies in the IoB category, the most alarming one is one that we have talked continually about since we learned about it years ago, and that's Elon Musk's Neuralink. It's easy to forget about Neuralink because we don't cover them on a weekly basis. But they are working in the background, constantly making breakthroughs in brain-to-computer interface technology. Those are literally brain chips implanted in the brain that can read your thoughts, that can read data input from your brain waves, and can even write data into your neural network. And the ambitions of this company are huge, but the progress they're making is unbelievable. Listen to how Elon Musk describes Neuralink.
I think some kind of brain-machine interface that can give you cybernetic superpowers, I think, is probably good. It could, help people that have brain or spine injuries. Enable people who've never spoken for years to speak again, which we've done. Give people eyesight who have lost both eyes or the optic nerve, or maybe have never even seen at all, blind from birth, by direct interface to the optical centers in the brain. You can actually restore eyesight or give people eyesight that they've never had before. And you can enable people to walk again, which I think is profound. I mean, these are kind of Jesus level things, let's say like when technologies are hitting like Jesus level miracles,
Musk said Neuralink expects to give a patient its blind sight implant for the first time by the end of this year. In January, Musk said that Neuralink was waiting for regulatory approval to implant the BCI meant to restore patients' vision. It's unclear whether approval has been granted at this point. Musk said that blind sight could, over time, not only bring back patients' sight, but also give them, quote, perhaps, superhuman vision. In the past, he's talked about giving people superpowers once Neuralink's technology is refined. Neuralink wants to put a BCI in an, quote, otherwise healthy person by the end of the decade, the company's president and co-founder, DJ CEO, said last year. And this is the big boast. Restoring control of people who are tetraplegics and restoring sight, I think, are pretty big deals, Musk said at the conference, adding, they're sort of what I might call Jesus-level technologies.